A very warm good morning to all of you. Dear students, once again I would like to welcome all of you to a new session of the history class. Today we are continuing with the same chapter from history, chapter number 13, United Nations, part 4. Do you remember what we were discussing in the previous class? We were discussing a few important points regarding the Security Council and what is the composition of the Security Council. These were the two different points which we were discussing in the last class. And today we are going to study the other important organ of United Nations, that is International Court of Justice. So first we have seen the General Assembly and its composition. Secondly, we have seen Security Council and its composition. And now we are going to study the third important organ of United Nations, and that is International Court of Justice. So let's move to the class. It is the judicial organ of United Nations. Judicial itself you will be very familiar, or it will be clear to you, which means it is an organ which is dealing with the law and order of the world. Since the United Nations is standing for the world, or it is an organization of the different nations of the world, it will be speaking about the rules and regulations of the world, especially in certain cases, or especially in those cases which will become an issue in the international level, especially the problems between two nations. So how those problems can be solved, and for that purpose this particular International Court of Justice is installed. Suppose in our country, if we have any problems with our neighbor or with any person or with any firm, where we will go? We will of course go to the courts for getting justice. Same way, if there is a problem between two countries, where they can go for solving the problem? Of course there is a solution, and that solution is the International Court of Justice. So that's why this International Court of Justice is being known as judicial organ of United Nations. Its location, or it is situated in Hague, and it has got installed, or for the first time it has started its official work in 1946, which means from 1946 onwards the International Court of Justice is functioning effectively. It has got two main tasks. First one, settle disputes submitted to it by its members in accordance with international laws. Suppose, just imagine, one of the members of International United Nations, and that member has got a problem with his neighboring country. So in that case, the member can submit the problem to the International Court of Justice. And the International Court of Justice, accordance with the international laws, will give a solution to that. So settle disputes or issues between two nations, or the issues submitted to the International Court of Justice by its members in accordance with international laws. Second one, to give advisory options on legal questions to international organs and agencies. United Nations has got 6 different organs, and one of the organs is International Court of Justice. Remaining 5 different organs are there. So according to the time, they are giving different advice to different organs. So it is one of the tasks of the International Court of Justice. And the second one, different international agencies are working in the world, like World Health Organization, then UNICEF, UNESCO, and different other agencies. So give timely advice to all those agencies as well as the other organs of UN. It is the second responsibility of International Court of Justice. Now we are going to see the composition of International Court of Justice. There are 15 judges, or there will be 15 judges in the International Court of Justice. They will be elected for the term of 9 years. So once if a judge is elected to the International Court of Justice, his period of time, his office period of time will be for 9 years. Not more than one judge from any nationality. From one nation or from one state, there will be only one judge. So it is a policy followed by the International Court of Justice. So from one nation, there will be only one judge. Then election to be held every 3 years, which means after every 3 years, 1/3 of the total number of judges will be getting retired, which means if a judge is appointed for the term of 9 years, so when he completes his 9 years of service, he'll get retired. So to that seat, the next election will be held. So 1/3 of the seats will be laying vacant, which means in 2020, if 1/3 of the seats are getting vacant, which means they might have appointed 9 years before. So in 2021, again 1/3 of the seats will be laying vacant. So in every year, 1/3 of the seats will be vacant, which means 1/3 means 5 judges will be appointed in every 3 years. Then retiring judges may be re-elected. So according to the situation, so if he is a very qualified, if he is a very much talented, and if the judge is a very experienced and wise judge, of course he can get re-elected. So it will be according to the problems and how they deal it. These judges don't represent their governments. So if a judge is appointed from a country, or if a judge is representing a particular nation, it doesn't mean that they are being appointed by their own country. Of course, in the case of United Nations, decisions will be taken by the General Assembly. So in those cases, those judges will not represent their governments. Suppose if a judge is appointed, or if the judge is from Britain or America, they don't have any influence on that judge. The government of America will not be having any influence on that judge because he is not a representative from America. They will be independent magistrates, which means they can take their own decision. They will be the citizen of that particular country, but it doesn't mean that in the cases of International Court of Justice, the particular government can influence. No, they will be independent magistrates. There will be a president and vice president for the term of 3 years. So among the judges, there will be a president and a vice president, and their term of service will be for 3 years. And again, they can be re-elected. Once if they complete their 3 years, they can get elected again as the president or vice president. They have got the power to appoint its registrar, to make the records of the International Court of Justice. Of course, there must be a registrar, and the International Court of Justice has got the power to appoint its registrar. Now, what are the qualifications needed to be the judge of International Court of Justice? First one, must have qualifications required in their respective countries for highest judicial officer. So what qualification is needed for a civilian to become the highest judicial officer of their own particular country? All those qualifications are needed to become a judge in the International Court of Justice. Second one, competence in international laws. There will be certain exams or certain criteria will be there, and the members or the person who is able to beat those competence examinations will be getting elected as a magistrate or a judge in the International Court of Justice. So there must be enough knowledge about the international laws. So competence in international laws. Then represents the highest form of civilization. Since they are being appointed as the judges of International Court of Justice, they must know about all the different things. That's why we have seen in the second point, competence in international laws. A person who is going to be appointed as the judge in the International Court of Justice must have all the knowledge in international laws. the different knowledge about the different nation, their culture, their civilizations, their specialities. So all those things must be known to the particular person who is going to be appointed as the judge of International Court of Justice. Competence in international laws. So represents the highest form of civilization and principal legal system of the world. The person must know all the principal legal system of the world, different nation and its different legal systems, because the laws which followed in a particular country will not be followed in other nation. Suppose we take the example, according to the law, the traffic law of a country, the vehicle should be driven through the left side of the road, but in another country it will be through the right side of the road. So there will be different. So I have just told a simple law, but in the case of, and again we can see the laws of Arab nations and the other democratic countries, it is entirely different. The punishment given in the Arab nations and the other democratic countries, it is entirely different. And the countries which are following monarchy form of government, their rules will be entirely different. So principal legal system of the world, the people who are being appointed as the judges in the International Court of Justice must have knowledge about all the different systems of the world. So dear students, I hope that you have got a clear idea about the International Court of Justice. But in the next class we will be continuing, a few more points are there to explain, and those points we will discuss in the next class. Till then, I would like to sign off. Thank you.